Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Danielle Lord. I'm the founder and principal of Archetype Learning Solutions. And on this channel, we talk about all things employee engagement. Our strategy is simple: engage everyone every day through quality daily interactions. So you don't need those big hot dog lunches or all management sponsored breakfasts or the pizza parties or dress in jeans today. What you need are quality daily interactions that really matter and engage people in a way that brings about the human connection in our workplace. And I talk about this regularly, that our organizations are completely devoid of relationships, and it's all focused on productivity and task. And it's very challenging for a lot of our employees because we are humans. We need to show up as humans, and we need to have the ability to bring our full self into the organization. So I was very excited to stumble across this study a couple of months ago. It's a research study, so it's got a super long name, exploring the relationship between surface acting, job stress, and emotional exhaustion in health professionals. Now, I think that I was attracted to this because of the LMX, what we call leader member exchange theory aspect of this, and also health professionals, but I think this applies to anyone in our modern organizations. So that was the main heading with the subtitle, The Moderating Role of LMX, or Leader Member Exchange Theory. So leader member exchange theory, just for a little history lesson here, was originally introduced in 1975, and I apologize to the original authors because I never get your name correct. Danzacrew, and Grain, again back in 1975. So this theory has been around for quite some time, and originally it was rather off-putting to a lot of people who study leadership because it talked about it's always focused on relationship, but it originally said you have these dyadic relationships with individuals, and some you're going to connect with because they are wanting to go above and beyond, and others you're going to kind of push aside. You're going to call them the B group or the subgroup because all they want to do is come in, do the work, and go home. And originally they said, those are individuals that aren't deserving of all of your attention. You should be focusing on this other dyadic relationship with this group who wants to go above and beyond. Later work, they kind of realized that maybe that wasn't the best approach, particularly when we're talking about leadership and really what leadership is. And they later came up with what they called leader making. Now, I've talked about leader making in the past, and this is moving out of the stranger to the acquaintance phase to the partnership phase, being the most ideal state of the relationship between leaders and followers, or managers and subordinates, if you will. And that's ideally where we want to go, because we have richer dialogue, we have people that are working collectively towards benefiting the entire organization, and lots of other great things. We lose the fear, we function from our frontal cortex rather than from our amygdala. And so we have a lot of great things that happen when we get into this partner phase of the relationship. With that, we always have to expect or anticipate that there will be people who don't ever want to move out of the stranger or even the acquaintance phase into that. And we have to accept that as okay. And we employ and utilize those employees to the depth that they want to be employed and utilized. And we just respect that. Some people want to just come to work so that they can accomplish what they need to get, collect their paycheck, and go home. And that's okay. We need those individuals within our organization. Okay, so that's kind of the history of the leader member exchange theory. And I love this idea of the partner phase because it really is everything that I talk about. So when I saw this article, I was very excited. And what I want to do is just chat a little bit today about what this means and how this connects to employee engagement. So this particular piece, Exploring the Relationship, was done out of 5 professors out of Turkey. And so with respects to them and their names and their dialect, I'm going to just say it was done by Yilmaz et al. And save the butchering of the remaining individuals' last names. But great study. And what they are talking about in this particular study is this idea of expecting employees to utilize or employ what they refer to as surface acting. So what is surface acting? Surface acting is this idea that I'm going to show up, and this, we've heard this for years and years. Come to work, leave your emotions, leave your problems, leave your challenges, leave whatever else makes you human, leave all those at the door. When you cross that threshold and walk into the organization, walk into the building, you should be smiling, happy, ready to get to work, and have no other things at the top of mind other than accomplishing the work that you need to accomplish for the sake of the task and the productivity of the organization. We know that that is not humanly possible. And so that's what we're referring to when we say surface acting. So we're saying, anything else that's happened to you? You got into an accident on the way into work, minor, you were still able to drive into work, but you're still worried about your car, you hurt everywhere. Something happened with your kids at home, your spouse the night before. Whatever the case is, even a bad interaction between you and another team member within the organization, push them all aside, just brush it away, let them go, and move on with your day, because it's all about the productivity, right? So that is what we refer to when we say surface acting. So they're saying in this particular study that they did, looking at healthcare professionals who are working with very tragic, sometimes, events and occurrences within their workplace. And this is one of the reasons why I started Compass, support for caregivers. But this idea that physicians and surgeons and nurses and caregivers who experience really traumatic events on a daily basis, they're just supposed to brush over it and move on and get to the next patient and be attentive to that patient. That's understandable, and that when we have nurses and physicians and other care members of the care team, we need them to be fully present when they're engaging with patients, because errors can become fatal very quickly. However, that surface level acting does not allow them to have what we call emotional regeneration. And this I see as a huge problem, obviously within healthcare, but I think this extends within our organizations across the United States, and probably even into multiple parts of the rest of the world, where we have this expectation that you just show up despite the challenges that you've run into 10 minutes ago, 10 hours ago, whatever the case may be. Show up and put that mask of surface level acting on and move past it. So we have no ability to recharge from or charge from emotionally charged events like an argument, a conflict, the death of a patient, for example. And we run into very troubling situations because people get into this state of absolute exhaustion. And so I'm trying to find some things that I might be able to read from this. So I'm just kind of flipping through this research study just a little bit to see if there's anything compelling that I want to share. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing. So how does this relate to employee engagement overall? If I don't have the ability to recover from a situation, I'm holding on to all of that stress. It takes a mental, physical toll. We know the toll that it takes on the body, mind, and spirit by holding on to all that stress. And if I don't have an individual in the organization for whom or for which I've developed that partner type of relationship with, I don't have any space to walk into and just kind of have a moment of humanness. And so what happens over time is we just disconnect from one another. And in the psychology literature, they call that splitting, meaning that you've had so many disconcerting incidents or actions that have happened, you've just kind of compartmentalized it to a point where you really, in some cases, can become a different person than who you are at home and work. And I don't think that's healthy by any extent. But bottom line is we have to have relationships in order to have good engagement. Because if you've got folks that are just getting through the day of surface level acting rather than the deep acting, which is bringing that whole humanness, whole human piece into the workplace. If we don't have that capacity, we're not living our most fully human life that we can. So if we don't have any way to kind of discharge that negative energy, and we don't have a person that we've got, are in that relationship with, we're basically just a bunch of autonomons, whatever, you know what I mean? Individuals that are just kind of existing in the organization. And so that's kind of the gist of the study, is really reinforcing this need that we have to have relationships in order to have good employee engagement. I'm just looking kind of at my notes here because I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here when I do all of these things. But yeah, just imagine with new employee integration, for example. So I do a lot of work with employees who are walking into the organization for the first time. And oftentimes you get the nice warm welcome letter. Actually, I have another video I want to do on this very topic, but you get that nice welcome. We're so excited to have you here. And then you walk into the organization the first day and you're eating alone and you have no one to talk to. I mean, that's kind of a shitty first experience. So imagine that happening all the time. And it really does take a toll on employee engagement. And what happens is that we just breed more and more discontent within our small c community, or the organization, what I call the small c community. And we take that discontent back into the big C community, which is the communities in which we live. And I now am taking my frustration, my deep level acting that's become kind of toxic. I'm now taking that out on you in engagement in the grocery store when I see you, with my family, with my friends. It just breeds and breeds and breeds so much toxicity through that degree of complacency, because we have no ability to express how we're really feeling. So there we go. My take on the study, exploring the relationship between surface acting, job stress, and emotional exhaustion in health professionals. Great research study. It gave you the snippets because no one likes to read 23 pages of 4-point font in a research capacity. But it really does speak to the power of relationships. And so I'll come back in a couple of days, maybe do another video on this, on some of the really compelling findings that came as a result of the research. But just one more really powerful reason why we need to have those personal, deep relationships at work, so that we no longer have to struggle through and suffer with this idea of surface level acting, especially as the tasks just continue to compound and get piled upon us. So there we go. The power of relationships in the workplace and how it impacts employee engagement. Okay, that's my little snippet for today. If this content resonates with you, I hope you'll like, share, comment, and connect with me so we can continue the conversations. Thanks so much for watching, and hope to see you next time. I'm Danielle Lord with Archetype Learning Solutions.